So the first presenter that we have for 15 minutes would be the Wellington Garden Partners, if I'm not...
That's correct.
Mr. Mineo.
Thank you.
Let me ask you to do this. It's not fair to the applicants if you take up their time by applauding. So what I'd ask you to do is hold your applause till after each applicant makes their presentation. I'm not trying to stifle your applause, but they have 15 minutes, and when I call them up, the clock starts. So I would appreciate if you wait till after. Thank you very much. Mr. Mineo.
I'd like to thank Village Council for this opportunity, and I'd especially like to thank all of you for coming out tonight and showing that you care about your community. I'm especially sorry for the people who have to stand along the sides of the room. It's going to be a long night, folks. I'm going to introduce my brother, Randy Mineo, who is going to speak in place of our master developer, Michael Samchik. Michael could not make it here tonight due to the snowstorm in the Northeast. He tried multiple flights. He couldn't get here. So I'm going to have my brother, who's the Executive Vice President at Core Realty, that's our master developer, speak on behalf of Michael. A short statement.
Good evening. This is as Michael. I've spent 35 years building Core Realty in one of the most dynamic and active mixed-use development companies on the East Coast. We presently have over 2.5 million square feet of mixed-use property in development in downtown Philadelphia and downtown Pittsburgh, more mixed-use square footage than many of these others have done in their entire existence. In terms of development and financing, we are the only developer in this room to have ever done a Macy's deal, and our primary financing has been through Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo. These banks only deal with the most substantial and proven developers in the country. Given this background, I was beyond disappointed, dumbfounded, that we didn't fare better in your criteria for our demonstrated financing and experience. There's one message that I want to leave Wellington with loud and clear. We have offered the best plan for your community, and we've proven our ability to complete it. It's simply up to Wellington to give us the opportunity. Thank you.
These projects you see here comprise 2.5 million square feet, financed completely by our master developer, Core Realty. Total financing of these two projects, over $500 million. The project that we're proposing to undertake in Wellington, by comparison, would be less than a third of that total. And here's the project. It's 10 city blocks in the city of Philadelphia. It doesn't get more, development, folks, does not get more complex than this. Dealing with the city of Philadelphia is, I don't know, let's put it this way. Wellington will be a cakewalk by comparison. Here's how we fared. Here's how we fared on the scoring. The heart of the criteria is those blue numbers in the middle. That's our score on our plan. And I think most people will agree, we have the best plan. But where we fell short with Village Council was on the other criteria, which was the price, background, ability to finance. So tonight, what I'm going to try to show Village Council is we have all these other things. We should start with the best plan and then move on to, hey, does that party have the ability to perform? And we do. There was one important thing that we felt was missing from this criteria, and it's what we addressed. And that thing is community. There's no part of this criteria right now that takes that into consideration. And yet, this is the people's criteria. Community interest. What's the best community plan? Do we derive community benefit from what we do? So what I'm proposing is, it's not a complicated decision here tonight at all. We start with the best plan, because that's what Wellington's stuck with for the next 75 years. Whatever we decide to put at K Park, it's there for the long term. So we go with the best plan, what delivers the most value to the community, and then there's only one other question after that. It's a simple one. Has that proposer reasonably demonstrated the ability to perform that project. Here's the principles we followed, and I'm not going to go through them, I don't have time, but I can share with you this. There is not another proposer in this room that addressed these community planning principles, which are adopted by every major planning body in the United States. We followed every one of these, including, importantly, the last one, which is community collaboration and development decisions. And that's why you're here, because this is your property, and you should be involved in the decision-making process here. Why didn't any other developer follow this criteria? I can only give you one or two reasons why. One, they didn't know it. If they didn't know it, I have to question their background and experience. Number two, if they did know it, I got to question their intention, because this is what's good for the community. I think if you knew these, whatever you chose to do, you did what was good for you. Was this clairvoyant or foreseeable? This was in our RFP. This is what we stated in our RFP would happen with the other developers. And what's the approach? It's a one-size-fits-all approach. Every other developer, they're taking their standard formula product that they take from place to place to place. A housing development, apartment development, even a strip center. Same thing everywhere. And this is what you get when that happens. It's anywhere USA. I don't want to see Wellington turn into this. This is 3.5 miles. By the way, how far do we have to go to find this? 3.5 miles up the road in Royal Palm. A 18-acre strip center in the front, and behind that, gated residential. This is the site plan model for every other proposer here today. Here's what we plan for Wellington. We plan to add real value to the community based on those community planning principles. And what do you see here? There's 21 acres of green space, a central gathering place for the public where people can enjoy themselves and socialize. The parking is all on the perimeter of the property. And what's the face that we put the 441? Beautiful green. People are going to be concerned about traffic, and it's a reasonable concern. It's a valid concern. We addressed it. We have a plan for traffic. Nobody else here does. I'm going to go through these slides really fast. A lot of you have seen this, but this is the face that we would show to 441. Not exactly your typical. This is what community is about, creating an area where our people can gather. 250 square feet of brick pavers, walkways, and get 1 million square feet. That's the size of our regional mall here of green space. A performing pavilion for civic purpose. And this would be the entrance to our botanical garden, which is in the back of the property, 18 acres. That's a tropical island planted on top of a 14-foot-high roof deck with a plunging waterfall. You won't see this anywhere else. This is iconic for Wellington. And here's what you encounter in the garden. A rainforest entrance, that would be under the roof deck. And then other distinct areas we would create in the garden, like a beach, a bamboo walk. A place where life's meant to be enjoyed. There's not a parking lot in sight. You can enjoy a meal in an outdoor cafe without having to overlook the parking lot. What about the kids? We're the only ones who address the children. A place that delivers new experiences. You won't see these scenes anywhere else in Wellington right now because we don't have a place for that scene to occur. We want to build that place. And what did the people want? Here's what the people wanted. They wanted those big 3 bars in the middle there. They want recreation, entertainment, culture, and mixed use. That's exactly what our plan provides. And what's that little bar circled there to the right? That's residential. 3.5% of people in Wellington told us, on the Villages survey, told us they want residential. And yet, what are we going to see here today? Residential, residential, more residential. Here's our survey. We call it the 90% solution because 90% of people in Wellington liked our plan. 90% believes it'll improve their home values, and 90% believe it'll improve their lifestyle in Wellington. And by the way, we surveyed 425. We received last week alone over 500 new survey results. Last week, and the results are the same as you're seeing up on that screen. The Botanical Garden, meant to be a gift to the community. And here's what other communities say about their garden. Community asset, cultural amenity. What was it called in our presentation? Unfunded liability. That was it, unfunded liability. But there's no botanical garden that's an unfunded liability, especially not this one, because I think that was just a misunderstanding. We offered to support this garden forever, $125,000 a year forever. There was no term limit on that. In addition, if the village does not want the garden, we'll maintain the garden. That's our obligation. It says in our own RP, free to the public amenity, with the village having no responsibility for future maintenance, liability, or anything else. And you know what we'll offer today, just to prove it? If we're selected, we'll put up a $3 million performance bond on the creation of this garden. And what does that stand for? That stands for a guarantee to the community. What's the good news for the people who live around this place we'd create? Expect your home values to go up, folks. 10 to 20%. Here's another good one. This is the commuter tax on Wellington. $3.5 million a year is what you all spend to go to Palm Beach Gardens, Delray, wherever, to enjoy a nice night out, entertainment, and restaurants. We can save $3.5 million a year. And here's the real bottom line. Here's the real bottom line. You want what's good for the community? 55 acres of public space for the community. Look at these other numbers. 9, 16. The number one ranked proposal, 9 acres of public space. We're given 21 acres of green space. Anybody else even close? Even close. 0 and 1? This is our team. I can't spend time on it, but let me tell you, everybody we have on this team is an expert at what they do, an awarded expert at what they do. There's nobody in this room. I don't care if you have 300 employees or whatever. This is the team that is performing this project. There is no better expertise than what we have right here. And these are our letters. We're going to show you a series of five letters, reference letters from municipal government, from lenders. This one's from the city of Philadelphia. Before I go into that, I want to point out there are other proposers in this room who have submitted. We submitted 5. They submitted 0. 0. And for one of them, there's a reason why it's 0. Because they've never completed a project. Here's what the city of Philadelphia had to say. We finance and complete transformative real estate developments. This is from the mayor's office. And by the way, nobody checked with the mayor's office. We gave a reference, nobody followed up. From State Senator Larry Farnese, State Senator, Pennsylvania. CORE's ability, I recommend, without reservation, CORE's ability to develop, finance, and merchandise large-scale, complex real estate developments. Anybody else have a reference like this? I didn't see one, not from any other proposer. Funding. Worried about financing? We're not. We have a 100% equity commitment right here from the 20th largest owner of apartment properties in the U.S., JRK Investors. And what does JRK say? They're willing to, from their $600 million discretionary fund, they're willing to fund up to 100% of the required equity for Wellington Gardens. And they did that. That's Wellington Gardens. They did that after thoroughly reviewing our pro forma, our figures, and having an opportunity to ask questions about the feasibility of this project. These guys know when they see a good project. How about Wells Fargo? $175 million financing commitment from Wells Fargo. But more importantly, they point out they're doing this because they've already done 9 core projects. In addition, they're pointing out another thing. They helped arrange financing for CORE with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and US Bank. They don't deal, these companies don't deal with you unless you're large, credible, substantial company. Finally, US Bank, $100 million line of credit, anytime they need to use it, from US Bank. And what does US Bank say? They're interested in growing their banking relationship with us. Why? Because they know that we're a trusted developer. Here's what we did for the community. I'm not going to go through all these. See those green check marks? We did all those things. There's not another proposer in this room that did those things for the community. And the big one is create a sense of place for the community. We need a place for our community to gather. We need that social space.
Thank you, Mr. Mineo. Appreciate it. Next applicant will be the Stiles Corporation, please.
I brought my official clicker with me.
Okay, thanks.
That's a tough act to follow.